How are you, my friends? This is lecture number 11 of the Calculus 1 lectures, the derivatives of trigonometric functions. In the objectives of this lecture, we see the derivatives of the sine and the cosine function, also the derivatives of the other four trigonometric functions. And then we will see how do we apply chain rule to these trigonometric derivatives. If f is a function equals sine of x and g of x is equal cosine of x, they are differentiable everywhere and they are defined on the real number. So we can see the derivative of the sine of x is equal cosine of x. That's a simple rule here. You have to remember that. And the derivative of the cosine of x is minus sine of x. Now the other four, I put them here, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The derivative of the tan of x is equal secant squared of x. And the derivative of the cotan of x is minus cosecant squared of x. The derivative of secant of x will be secant of x times tan of x. And the derivative of cosecant of x will be minus cosecant of x times cotan of x. Now let's start with this simple example here. Find the derivative of x squared times sine x. Now, if we look at this example, we have to remember the product rule. Product rule says if we have a product u times v, the derivative will be u prime v plus v prime u. Now u here is x squared and v is the sine of x. So the derivative of x squared times the sine of the x plus the derivative of the sine times the x squared. That's the product rule. So this will be 2x, that's a polynomial here, 2x times the sine of x, and the derivative of the sine is the cosine of the x, so it will be x squared times the cosine of x. That's the whole derivative. So simple. Now y equals, example 2 here, cosine of x divided by 1 minus sine of x. Let's find dy over dx, which is the derivative, or y prime. Clearly, we see here the quotient rule. Remember u over v prime? U prime v minus v prime u divided by v squared. So I take the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus the derivative of the denominator times the numerator. There is a minus in the formula over the whole denominator squared. So the derivative of the cosine of x is minus sine of x, and here we have a bracket, 1 minus sine of x, minus the derivative of this. This is 0, derivative is 0, and this is the derivative of the sine of x is cosine of x, and there is a minus, so we have to leave it there, times the cosine of the x, which is the u, over something squared. Now multiply here, minus sine of x times 1 is minus sine of x, and this is plus sine squared of x. And minus with the minus becomes here plus cosine squared of x. We know sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x is 1. So it will be 1 minus sine of x. Then we can cancel one of these factors. So the final answer y prime will be 1 over 1 minus sine of x. Example 3, find the following derivative. d of x of this function x times tan of x. Also, we can see here a product, u v, the derivative here, and the product. It will be u prime v plus v prime u. So the derivative of the x is 1 times tan of x plus the derivative of the tan of x will be secant squared times the x. So the final answer will be the derivative tan of x plus x secant squared of x. This is a nice question, actually. Find dz, the derivative with respect to z of this function secant z divided by square root of z. Let's use the quotient rule here also because we have something over something. The derivative now, u prime, the derivative of the secant z prime times square root of z minus the derivative of the square root of z times the secant of z, which is u, over all this squared. Now, the derivative of the secant of z will be secant of z times tan of z by the formula, and this will be square root of z minus the derivative of square root of x. We have seen it many times because this is power half. It will be half z to the power half minus 1 times secant of z. Half will be 0.5, or we can leave it half. Z to the power minus half. You can do 2 steps here until you can reach this answer. Let me tell you how. 0.5 is 1 over 2. Z 1 over z to the power half. Find the LCD in the numerator and divide the two fractions. You can do it yourself. Then you will reach here. Secant, see there is a secant of z, secant of z, that's a common factor. Inside you will have 2z, because you have square root of z here, you have square root of z in the denominator. It will be 2z times tan of z minus 1, all divided by 2, z to the power 3 over 2. Now the chain rule, we can apply chain rule if we have f is a function of u and u is a function of x. So d of x, the derivative of f of u, f prime of u times du over dx. This is from lecture 8. So we can apply this to sine of u, cosine of u, tan of u, cotan of u, secant of u, and cosecant of u. Same derivative, but we have to find the derivative of u because u is a function of x. Let's apply this on this example. We have y equals 2 sine 10t plus 3 cosine pi t. Let's find y prime. Here we have a sum. It's not a product, so that's easier. This is the sum of two functions. One is sine, one is cosine. But it's not cosine or sine t or x. We have 10t, we have a cosine of pi t. That means this is u here. That's u. See, u here is 10t, and u here is pi t. So by using chain rule, the derivative for the first one will be 2, we just write here. The y u prime is 10 only. The derivative of sine 10t will be cosine 10t. And this is 3 from the question. The derivative of u, this is u here, it will be pi, times the derivative of cosine pi t, it will be minus sine pi t. Just simplify it more, 20 cosine 10t minus 3 pi sine pi t. This is the y prime of this function. Let's differentiate another function, cosine square root of x. This is example number 6. Cosine square root of x. You can do it yourself if you like, and then if you are ready, check the solution. Let's use the chain rule also. So I can change here square root of x, I can write it as u. So I need in the answer du over dx, which is 1 over 2 square root of x. That's a simple derivative by the power rule. Now let's use the formula. Dx of cosine of u will be minus sine of u times du over dx. So this is the function f, cosine square root of x. I need the derivative. It will be minus sine of u times du over dx. So when you simplify everything, you put u here, square root of x. So it will be minus sine square root of x, all divided by 2 square root of x. This is f prime. Always please check the playlist, Calculus 1 solved questions. There are many videos, many questions are there to help you understand the lectures better. This is the end of lecture 11. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, you can subscribe and share it with your friends. I hope I can see you in another video with another topic. Thank you guys for listening.